This is a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.
Hey, bud.
Oh, hey, Ken, what's going on? Hey, are you free tonight? Dude, Steel Panther's in town. They're doing an acoustic set, and I got backstage pass. Ken, what are you doing? Are you Tebowing? What is this, 2011?
Oh, hey, Ken, great job on that report, by the way. I know it was last minute. What the hell are you doing?
It's Tebow.
All right, look, Ken, I know you're high on this whole Tebowing thing, but Tebowing has been sitting in the drawer longer than Fritzy's underpants, okay? Now this is what everybody's doing now.
Thanks, Carol. Coming up, I'll give you some really cool tips on how to... The box store starts right now! Hey, come on, man!
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. We're down a Danette and a half because Polly was suspended for the day, and of course, McLovin a little under the weather today. Perloff, how angry would the boss get if you got him sick, especially during football season?
See, Dan wouldn't even notice a common cold. Dan has like apocalyptic diseases about 3 times a month, things that you have to look up on Wikipedia. So a little cold, Dan wouldn't even notice that.
He's a healthy man. Well, things got off to a bad start today, and the boss realized it was time to shut the show down.
Are you feeling okay?
I sound kind of a little bit like Wolfman right now, don't I? I'm going deep.
I don't know. I haven't noticed anything different.
You sound nasally.
Oh, no, I have a cold.
Okay.
You want me to go on? Hey, Seton, you take the polls.
No,
Since you do such a good
you
impersonation of me.
Wow. Wow, it started.
Wow.
Okay. I said to management yesterday that we need a vacation here soon because we're starting to go, we're sniping at each other.
And they said no?
Well, they didn't realize that. I said, look, we're kind of climbing the walls here. We're around each other every single day, and at times, it's just like one little comment, next thing you know, it's on.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was surprised at the reaction. I got hammered after that, and I wasn't really expecting it. But it certainly set the tone for the rest of the day. And Dan's right, I think. I don't know that I necessarily realized how bad we needed a vacation until today, but it is very evident that we all do.
Well, one of the reasons that Dan's vacation revelation is a topic from something that shall be known as Vaguegate 2014 is because Fritzy called him vague. Why'd you call him vague, Fritz?
It's a long time coming, and you know, I don't want to speak for the other guys. I already kind of threw them under the bus without naming names earlier. But there are a lot of times we're communicating with Dan, and he's kind of on the fence whether it's about a certain topic or a guest or what have you. There have even been times where we've sent the notes, and Steve and I joke about that all the time back in the mothership days, where we'll ask him about something, and then he'll send us a response totally unrelated. Like we'll say, "What do you think about doing this in hour 2 of the show?" And he'll say, "Did you get a chance to print my itinerary for Dallas?" That's one of our big jokes.
Dallas itinerary.
So basically, you know, we were looking into, you know, guest fit today and the rest of the week, what have you. Long story short, he wasn't giving me a full answer as to whether he wanted this particular guest on the show, and I was trying to get an answer out of him. And all too often, either via text or email, or even when we're all talking face to face, I don't get a good read on things, and I don't want to book somebody, then uninvite them or put them on in the wrong time slot and have to move things around. And it was like 5 minutes before showtime, so we needed to make a decision sooner than later, and he wasn't giving me it.
Sort of a moment there where Dan today said, okay, well, how about from now on, I just make the decisions, and then how would things work? And it's like, well, probably a lot easier. Because we sort of, like, we'll send around all these emails like, hey, what do you think of this? How do you think of that? And pretty much everybody weighs in except for one guy. And that's almost always Dan. And like, dude, yeah, if you were just like, yeah, I'll have that guy on, or not, it would really just simplify this
and
whole thing.
It is kind of his show, and he's ultimately going to be the one that's going to be interviewing that person if the topic happens to be having a certain guest on, and then the debate over what's the perfect time to an hour to put him on, which is a whole other second headache, or trying not to have two guests on back to back. God forbid we have 2 in a row guest segments. That's not real great either. So it just makes for a daily anxiety-inducing struggle that's going to put me in an institution very, very soon.
Well, another guy that went after DP was Sir Charles Barkley when he called in today.
You know, you've got no heart when it comes to golf. You a coward when it comes to coming to Lake Tahoe and playing under pressure in front of people. I will never forgive you for that, but I respect you as a guy who doesn't have a hidden agenda.
See, I brought that course to its knees in Tahoe, and I can't do that again. I moved on to another course, Charles.
Yeah, okay. I like the way you were taking those little gimme putts. Now, we have to put out here, Dan.
You know, as ironic as it is for Fritzy to call out Dan for being vague and sort of riding the line and being on the fence, Charles Barkley calling out Dan for his golf game is equally just as ironic and pretty fascinating. I loved it, though. I love him taking shots. Although, listening to Charles Barkley speak, maybe it's just because we just had him in studio, but all I could think about was Calidendo doing his impression of Charles Barkley. Man, that Calidendo's good. That boy good. And, oh, man, that's every time Charles Barkley was speaking, I'm like, is this really him or Frank Caliendo? I can't really figure it out. Calidendo.
Well, the boss wasn't going to let Todd and Sir Charles get away with Slandergate 2014, so here's the verbal pushback. It's boss's thoughts.
You know, you consider the source. If it was somebody that I had great respect for, then maybe I'd respond with a press release. But I really have nothing to say. I'm going to rest on my laurels. And right now, that's an entire living room of sofas. So I'll let you be the judge.
Wow, that was kind of harsh.
But did you expect anything different?
A little bit. I know.
Really?
I know Dan. He goes, if it was someone that I had great respect for, he just said on national TV that he doesn't.
Called him out.
He doesn't have enough respect for me to care about like my.
What did you? Have you ever seen Dan when he's called out and slightly defensive?
He gets the claws out.
Yeah.
He got the not only that, but he got the claws out, asking me if aren't you due for some type of intestinal surgery at the hospital or whatever he was saying. That was like I thought exceptionally mean. No,
really?
I really thought so. Yeah, like, 'cause he's the kind of person. I have a friend named Jason that I grew up with where you'd make like a little cute comment, then he'd come back with something 20 times harsher.
Yeah.
I was like, how does that equate to what I just said? If I just said, funny shot you took at the playground, and he'd say something horrible about my mother or something, how is that equal to what I was just joking around about your layup, and now you just said that you hope my mother gets hit by a truck. I was like, what? That's kind of what Dan did. I'm making a joke about a couple of Band-Aids, and it's like, next thing he says, shouldn't you be getting like a bowel issue or some type of blockage fixed in your colon? Like, really? That just matches up with what I said? I don't know. I just think that was off base there.
A little out of line. Fritz, are you going to try to make things better by going out with the crew to dinner in New York City?
Probably not. I'm actually looking forward to a nice, quiet evening. McLovin's been under the weather. I think he's going to try to get some brownie points and spend some quality time at home and relax. Dan's got other plans.
I have a big issue with this. I tend to feel like when it's Thursday night dinner time, you always keep one eye on what I'm doing for dinner.
I do.
And you try and see if I'm going to bail and use that excuse
I feel less guilty when there's at least one other person.
Because you never want to go to dinner.
You know what? And it's not, and you guys have it all wrong. I hope you joke when they think I'm being antisocial and I don't want to hang out with the guys. It's really not that. If the restaurant was like in the lobby of the hotel or within a 1-block radius, then I would make the effort. But I really enjoy, I'm married with 2 kids, I love them dearly, but the quiet of a nice evening, watching some brainless TV, watching a ball game, setting up my laptop, having some pizza or Chinese food, and just not having to run anywhere, especially with the weather now getting freezing cold. I'm very content with just hanging out at the hotel, and it's not about like, oh, I don't want to hang out with the guys. Granted, it looks like I'm being antisocial, but
that is the definition of antisocial.
No, it doesn't look like
I'm a bit of a loner at times, and I just, and the other part of it, which they know as well, and I'm not using it as a crutch, and I'm not saying I work harder than anyone else, because then that gets thrown in my face.
Oh, my God.
Wait a minute, did you just hear that? That was Paul Papp's head exploding from 40 miles away or wherever he is.
Oh, my God.
Here we go.
I do spend a big chunk of the evening every day, and I probably, some of it's putting too much pressure on myself and everything. But, you know, if the guest isn't full, guest list isn't full for the next day, there's interviews to be prepped, and that takes me takes a while to do.
If only they had some magical devices that you could take, say, communication on the road with you, almost like in a mobile
Have you seen my
sense.
phone?
Almost in a mobile
Have you seen the phone that I use?
By the way, like, how are you?
My BlackBerry, I can't.
Why are you worried about preparing for guests? Dan hasn't told you he wants on anyway, so
That's
you
a
have
very
to do it
good
at the
point.
last minute. Why?
That's an excellent point, and he'll be very vague up until 9 o'clock
We
Eastern
have a
time as to who
magical
he wants
device
on.
we need to take, and that is a break. Tonight, Fritzy will be unsocial in New York City, but the next break we will get very social, so stay with us.
I'm not getting $50 worth of Chinese food, but I will eat something nice.
Say that now.
But for the league to say, we have something to say that's bigger than the courts of Texas about the punishment you should receive, about the way you choose to deal with your child, that not only feels extrajudicial, it feels profoundly capricious and profoundly motivated by brand rehabilitation. And that's what separates Roger Goodell from Paul Tagliabue and Pete Rozelle. It's not enough that it just be a sport that people enjoy on Sundays. Now it has to be a moral compass that somehow leads America to a bright new tomorrow. We make football. We are the NFL.
Welcome back to the Box Score. Dave Zirin was on today and was loud, opinionated, and according to the Twitter response, quite polarizing. McLovin, when it comes to guests, is this a good thing?
Yeah, very good. I actually disagree with everything Dave said. I meant to bring this up, but I didn't have a chance. First of all, Paul Tagliabue and especially Rozelle were all about the NFL leading the way for society. Rozelle that was his entire platform. Also, he kept saying that everybody is buying Roger Goodell's thing hook, line, and sinker. The entire media thinks that Roger Goodell is making this up as he goes.
Well, yeah, but I think that the media is basically buying everything hook, line, and sinker, too. They're like, you know, thank God, if it wasn't for the NFL, we can't rely on the court system anymore, so the NFL is saving our children. That was Mike and Mike's lead yesterday. Like, are you kidding me?
They said that?
It was absurd.
Nobody thinks that. Really? Everyone, and by the way, the NFL is a brand, and he's treating it like a brand. It is a business. He's treating it like, everyone thinks Roger Goodell's a businessman, don't they?
Yeah.
Nobody thinks that he's like, everyone thinks he's making up on the fly. Even he almost admits, I'm making this up on the fly.
Yeah.
I think the media was closer. I thought Dave's take was closer to the mainstream media than I thought Dave was presenting it, but I could be wrong. Maybe because I'm in this room and I'm a little tight, but like, Goodell gets torched left and right every day, and Goodell's kind of a joke among the media.
I don't know. Man, I really don't agree with that.
He's like a punchline. Really? Goodell's like a Jay Leno punchline these days.
I feel like people, you know, there's like different degrees of this conversation where everyone will agree, yeah, it does look like they're making it up on the fly, and everyone will agree it's a reaction to Ray Rice.
Yeah, sure.
And then people, like, there's a lot of, but like this time he got it right with Adrian Peterson, and then there's other people questioning if he did. His press release was a joke talking about how he's just here, he only cares about the kids. I mean, that's not really the case. He cares about the NFL, right?
Right.
So he's sort of overdoing it a little bit in the attempt to get it right this time, in which case he may not have gotten it right. I don't think that over-punishment is the right way to make up for something else that all of a sudden people deemed was not the right punishment.
Right, but from a business standpoint, it might be his most savvy move, though, to over-punish.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think I really, see, that was one point I made earlier, like, he does not, this isn't going to affect the ratings whether Peterson plays or sits. What will affect things long-term is if people think there's a child abuser running around. And also, I think Goodell's the #1 punching bag in the country, media-wise, sports media. I think he's the #1 punching bag. There's nobody who gets made fun of more than him. I've seen, like, sketches of him floundering around this year, like,
yeah,
I feel like I don't see the media.
Once the Donald Sterling news went away,
I do agree that.
I mean, you can't treat him like that much of a punching bag when every form of sports media is in bed with the NFL and needs the NFL.
Sure,
so that's why you have actually a political guy who also does sports taking such a harsh words to Roger Goodell that most people don't do. I mean, Dan and him sort of had similar thoughts, but Dan didn't put it that way, where it was, you know, beyond contempt for what Goodell's doing. I mean, he took it to another level that most people who are partners of the NFL won't.
question though. I think you feel similar to Dave Zirin on this issue. You've expressed the same views on the show.
Yeah, like 100%.
When that caller called in and said, "I don't get it. You guys ripped Roger Goodell for not being, strict enough with Ray Rice, and now you're ripping him for being too strict for Adrian Peterson." Of course, he's making this up as it goes. It's unprecedented. How would you have answered that guy? I don't remember exactly what Dan said. Dan had a good answer.
Well, man, see, this is funny because now it's like, wow, I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't know that the Ray Rice punishment was wrong, frankly. I don't support domestic violence. I don't support child abuse. I think that there should be more respect for the legal system. And I think that if they did 2 games, I don't really know what the videotape changed, frankly. I think, yeah, I mean, he punched his wife and he knocked her out, right? What do you think that looks like?
And you also said earlier, like, over punishing one doesn't change the fact that you may have underpunished.
Okay, so you change it from 2 games to 6 games, maybe. Okay, I get that. If you need to do that, and now everything that's gone after that, it's like setting a really dangerous precedent to keep penalizing people and then penalizing them again until you satisfy an angry mob on Twitter. And I don't think that that's really the best way to run business at large.
But I feel like, though, he really has it. Like, he's got to do this. Like, he came out on Bountygate, hard on Bountygate, crazy hard on Bountygate. Yeah. And the league blew up afterwards. The ratings went through the roof. Actually, since this all came down, the ratings have been insane this year.
Well, you know, the thing that I find
he's got to worry about that.
The thing that I would worry about, is you're coming out really strong against like domestic violence and child abuse and all of these things, and at the same time, you're fighting a lawsuit which is about behavioral issues of concussions and things of that nature because of the violent nature of the game. It's like the game that you're defending is causing the problem you're fighting. That, to me, is an issue.
Well, listen, he's got to. What would you do if you were Goodell? Would you act differently? You'd let Peterson back on the field for the sake of consistency and fairness.
Would he get that crushed if they let him back before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think he'd get crushed by the silent majority. Would kill him.
I think he needed to be gone at least the end of this year, possibly into next year.
Personally, I don't think it's the people on Twitter. I think it's the countless hundreds of people who don't say anything out there on their TV. You know, the families who watch it, I think, would be turned off by seeing Adrian Peterson on the field.
One of the things that people have commented on a lot is that how can the legal system look at this so lightly, and the NFL needs to be more strong than the legal system. But I think that there's a reason that these types of penalties are put in place, and there's a reason that the legal system, it's not because they take it lightly. It's because, you know, I mean, Ray Rice, we can all imagine that this isn't the first time. I don't really know if it is or if it isn't, but people have a bad night. People have a bad 10 seconds. People have things that they wish that they could redo or take back. And I don't know that, you know, destroying someone's life over the worst 10 seconds of that dude's life is really the right thing to do. And Adrian Peterson's a different case, but, you know, people have different ways that they were raised and a different, you know, mindset on things.
Different strokes for different folks. We're going to take a break and let Fritzy finish his back massage on McLovin. After this, technology and stuff. Welcome back to the Box Score. Earlier this week, skateboarding legend Tony Hawk was seen tootling around on a hoverboard, like Back to the Future style there. Seton, you're the skateboarder. Would you ever want to give one of these a whirl?
Yeah, I'd give that a shot. Although, actually, you know, a while back, our boss sent us like this experimental skateboard that was sort of like a snowboard, but on wheels, and you're like almost strapped into this thing. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this thing was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying, and it kind of made me wonder, like, wow, why exactly did he send me this? Like, this is certainly leading to my doom. I mean, there's no way I'm surviving one of these things. So that when I see the hoverboard, it sort of brings back those memories of like, oh man, like bombing down this hill and being like, oh my god. It's way different than a skateboard, but that looked pretty rad. Tony Hawk's lucky dude.
Well, we went to the Box Score Movie Invention Database and came up with some prime inventions that aren't around just yet, but we thought maybe you guys would want to choose between one of the two that we would offer you. First choice is up for you, McLovin. The item would be the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me. It's a car that drives on land but still goes through water, and so no more long commutes for you, because now you can just go right through the Long Island Sound, or invisibility. I mean, from Harry Potter. DP already considers you invisible, so why not make it official and think of all the games you could get into? Well, which one would you rather have?
Dude, I'm obsessed with the power of invisibility. I dream about it all the time. Just like sort of skulk around, hear what people are saying about you, maybe go through their email. I have no idea. It'd be unbelievable. If I had, I often debate, if I could control time and freeze everybody around me and then, have total control of the universe or move back in time or invisibility, I'd still take invisibility. That would be awesome. Although the underwater car is pretty sick, too.
Well, the voyeur opportunities,
I didn't want to go there, but even I admit.
That would be a good time.
Next up is Seton. Your first invention is the dog translation collar from Up. I mean, now you can finally understand what your dog Ruby is telling you. Or maybe you could go with Flubber from the movie Flubber. It's well documented that Flubber helped the basketball team jump higher, and you've always wanted to dunk. I mean, which one would you rather have?
Man,
That, by the way, that was Flubber from the movie Flubber.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really know what Flubber is.
Yeah.
So it's like, but if it gives me the ability to dunk, that's kind of cool. That being said, the talking dog thing was like the coolest thing ever.
No, it's not Flubber from Godfather 2. It was Flubber from the movie Flubber.
To be able to communicate with your dog that way, and he can talk to you in human language.
Oh man, the rooster.
What if the dog could talk and said that she didn't like you, or something like that?
That's not possible. She loves me. She loves me. That being said, it would help in certain situations. No, I'd rather dunk. Sorry, Rue, but I'm gonna go with Flubber.
I'm shocked.
From the movie Flubber. And finally, Fritzy. Your first item is the Neuralizer from Men in Black. I mean, you can flash this baby at people and everyone will forget the horrible joke you just told. Or Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. I mean, there has to be a lo mein room in there somewhere, right? Which one would you rather have?
Wow, that's a
converted.
Wow,
into
this is
just.
This is
That's actually a river of lotion right there.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah, I'm less worried about what people are gonna, remember that I said. But if I have an opportunity to hang out with the Oompa Loompas and the paradise that is the lollipops and chocolate lakes and
you
all
can
that
nebulize
stuff.
your wife after she listens to you say something terrible on the show.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But as good as that sounds, hanging out in the chocolate factory. That's
Rowers keep on rowing.
You lose. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. Good day, sir. You lose. You get nothing. I said good day, sir.
You wouldn't last 10 minutes at the chocolate factory.
You're a monster, Wonka.
Do not go away.
We're
going to push the
Charlie's
button
burps are?
on the Wonka-vator and go slantways to wrap it all up. And sideways and squareways, anywhere you want to go. Welcome back to the Box Score, guys. As he prepares for his bout this weekend, Manny Pacquiao has been doing a lot of press, probably getting a lot of questions about Floyd Mayweather, that bout that never happened. Guys, if you could take a trip back in the time machine and give me just one great sports rivalry that you wished you saw in person. McLovin, start us off.
Oh, I'm not a huge boxing guy now, but the time that Frazier fought Ali in the Garden and all the celebrities in the world were there, that would be the one I wanted. I don't think there's anything that tops that.
Yeah, that's a great choice. The only other thing I can think of is, like some of those days. I remember watching it a little bit as a kid, but some of those Sixers-Lakers or Celtics-Lakers matchups, the Bird Magic years, if I could have been physically there instead of having vague recollections of it when I was a little kid watching on TV or seeing old video of it, that would be cool to see those Magic-Bird matchups. I think would be awesome.
For some reason, the first thing I thought of was Notre Dame Miami in like the 80s. I got to watch that on TV. But to actually go to those games and sort of get a sense of the atmosphere, that was like the Catholics versus convicts era. It was like real ugly and pretty nasty. I don't know why that's the first thing I thought of, but I would go there.
I don't know if I'd go to anything because I'm completely agoraphobic. Well, the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight would probably be good, but in a few years, maybe not so much. Seton, is there ever a sports or a music legend that you've seen far past their prime that just sort of made you cringe when you saw it?
Well, I saw Bob Dylan, obviously way past his prime, but I went knowing he was past his prime, and it was really more for the sake of, like, man, I just want to go see Bob Dylan. This is awesome, like, he's Bob Dylan. How do you not want to go see him? And it was weird. It wasn't really an enjoyable experience necessarily. But Yeah, probably.
Did you see the latest There was a documentary a couple years ago about the Stones and touring. I swear, they'd be playing a song. Keith would hit his guitar like every 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like randomly walking off the stage. You can almost see the stage here coming on, direct him. Back over here, Keith. Are we playing? Are we playing?
Get a little senile. Oh, no.
People seem to have more leeway with that stuff though, because the summer is kind of dominated by let's get 3 or 4 huge bands in the 80s, 70s, 80s era, and do these massive tours where they're selling out 30,000 seat arenas or sheds or whatever. And that's...
I heard a commercial today. There's a big show. Smokey Robinson's performing. He's awesome, but how old is he?
Yeah, but he's probably still pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I saw Aretha Franklin. I saw Ray Charles. And they were great. They were really, really great. And Peaches and Herb. Really good stuff, yeah.
Fritzy, you're never past your prime. How about it, Mr. Wonka? Who is on tomorrow?
Bob Costas and Al Michaels will both be joining us in our New York City studios. Al Michaels has a new book out, so he's going to stop by. You can't make this up. So both of our Dan's NBC colleagues from Sunday Night Football, Football Night America, in the New York City Soho studios.
So it's Bob.
Good day, sir.
It's Bob Costas and Al Michaels, right?
Did I say that 9 times?
You did.
Bob Costas and Al Michaels.
Thanks for watching The Box Score. Set your DVR or tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on Audience Channel 239, right here on DirecTV. Or if you're on the go, podcast on iTunes or at podcast1.com. Good day, sir.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey! Thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!
This was a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.